now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to WFSU Education Media Literacy Education. We are excited for all of you that are tuning in and watching with us today and being a part of this discussion about an incredibly important topic that seems to change every single day. And Grace, let's introduce ourselves with the next slide. It's our cast today, so I will probably be doing most of the talking. I am Tasha Weinstein, and I am the Education and Engagement Manager for WFSU Public Media.
Hi, my name is Grace Pierkowski, and I am the Education and Engagement Coordinator for WFSU.
Oh, Cassidy, you're muted. It had to happen, right?
Yes, it had to happen. I'm Cassidy Zhang. I am an education specialist, and I'm the one bringing this live video to you.
And I am Lauren Penniman, and I am an education and engagement specialist at WFSU.
And before we switch out to the next slide, I think it's really important that we all just recognize how every single person that has a device has a stage, right? I mean, even just the four of us being able to do this and it'll be shared who knows how many times. We are the cast and we get to control what we say and what we don't say, and that's what this session's all about. So let's see what we've got in store. Cassidy, you want to share a little bit about the agenda?
Sure. So the key topics we're going to discuss today is what is media literacy? Probably good to define. And the role of interactive technology in education, the benefits of that interactive technology, our new normal and remote learning, and the new trends to watch out for with that.
And the lovely thing too about being live on Instagram today is that if you all have burning questions or topics that you guys want to visit about, put them in the chat, let Cassidy know, and we will bring them out and talk about it. One thing that was pretty extraordinary when we were in COVID life, which still is not completely over. In fact, we were supposed to have two special guests with us today, but they are not because one of them believes they have COVID. So, but entire world of PBS kids pivoted to being even more online than ever. And this is just a little example because occasionally we had special guests like Elmo join our webinars, joined our Zoom meetings, and it made it so much fun, especially when kids were involved and they got to be with their favorite character that was talking to them on Zoom. It unleashed all kinds of potential ideas for the future and just so much. So little fun visit here with Elmo. Little introduction. I actually just finished my Master's of Science at Florida State University in Instructional Systems and Learning Technologies. And one of the reasons why is being a media educator, having a better understanding of what is possible out in the world now around the media that not only we consume, but the media we can create for really terrific educational experiences. I needed a refresher. This is one of the projects that I did, so it's definitely homegrown, but highlights a lot of things that we'll be talking about today. It's a little long, so bear with me. I hope you think it's fun.
Welcome to Screen Souffle, a virtual space where mid-century modern media ideas collide with our 21st century reality. Let's get cooking. In this short edutainment experience, we will define media literacy, discuss why it matters, and contemplate souffles. Today, not only do we need to read the printed word, but we must also gain the skills, knowledge, and abilities to interpret the images all around and be able to express ourselves through multiple platforms as well. Media surrounds us and is so integrated into our lives that many of us cannot function without it. And every piece of media out there was created by someone and for a particular reason. Media really can feel overwhelming, and yet it is very difficult to step away from it. It can be powerful and addictive, especially for our children. Don't fret, dears, nothing's better than starting with a good recipe. Our first recipe is souffle. A souffle is made from basic good ingredients, butter, flour, eggs, and sugar. Souffles can be served at any meal. Timing is important, and a successful souffle is based in science. Just like a souffle, we need wholesome ingredients to share media literacy. This recipe considers access, brings awareness, asks open-ended questions, engages in co-viewing, includes analysis, and makes time for reflection. We are hopeful for the day when media literacy is taught as a core subject from pre-K on. Just as we stress the importance of learning to read, learning to interpret media is essential. There is a lot we can do on our own if we co-view with our families and ask open-ended questions. There are 5 core reasons why teaching media literacy is so incredibly important. People need the skills of critical thinking and self-expression. Today, we are exposed to more mediated messages in one day than our great-grandparents were exposed to in a year. Media literacy teaches the skills we need to navigate safely through the sea of images and messages. It is unquestionable that media experiences exert a significant impact on the way we understand, interpret, and act on our world. By helping us to understand those influences, media education can help us separate fact from fiction. Our schools continue to be dominated by print, yet our lives are increasingly influenced by visual images. Learning how to read the multiple layers of image-based communication is a necessary adjunct to traditional print literacy. We live in a multimedia world. Media education can help both teachers and students understand where information comes from, whose interests may not be being served,
I love your face,
left
Cassidy.
out, and how to find alternative views.
That image is just like, oh.
Today, we reviewed the idea that like a souffle, we need good, wholesome ingredients for media literacy, including awareness, open-ended questions, co-viewing, analysis, and reflection. Until next time, ciao and happy co-viewing.
Okay, so lots of information just thrown at everyone. So we'll go on to the next slide and start breaking some of this stuff down.
Ciao.
And let's go right into another video. This is Cassidy's gorgeousness here. I thought this one had music, Cassidy. Is it quiet?
It is quiet. It should have music.
Okay.
though.
That's right. It's good stuff. It's knowing what to look for, asking those right questions. There it is. Yay. And of course, as WFSU Public Media, PBS Kids, we will be shamelessly plugging all sorts of PBS Kids resources throughout this presentation. And one of the collections, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, is Common Sense Education. They're actually on our PBS Learning Media platform. Again, we'll show it a little later. But have a look at this. Lauren, will you read these for us, please?
Yes. So we first have media balance and well-being. We find balance in our digital lives. Then we have relationships and communication. We know the power of words and actions. Digital footprint and identity. We define who we are. Privacy and security. We care about everyone's privacy. News and media literacy. We are critical thinkers and creators. And cyberbullying, digital drama, and hate speech, we are kind and courageous.
Is there anything that's missing from this list, or is there something that in particular speaks to you guys?
Can you say that again?
Just that, is there anything that's missing from this list? And another way to look at it too is like, is there something that you feel is more important in the list than something else?
I think that the one that says we know the power of words and actions, I think that really like ties into we are kind and courageous, and then we care about everyone's privacy, because if you know the power of your words and actions and what that looks like within media, then you will hopefully be kind and courageous, and you will care about other people's privacy. So I think that one kind of like ties in to those two.
That's a really good point, Lauren. Another question for us is, who's teaching the children this? Is it being taught?
That is the question. Or even to say we are critical thinkers. So the one slide in the reel that it talks about changing from like from a parent's perspective, from like don't watch to instead watch carefully and think critically.
Sorry.
I think that part of the video kind of sums up the whole thing, where like thinking critically is actually asking questions about what you're seeing or about what you're reading, and kind of like being the devil's advocate or being open to a different perspective than your own. Like, in order to think critically, you have to also entertain the opposing argument and think through it. I remember my AP Lang teacher, she had this quote put up on the back of her classroom that said, "It is the mark of an educated mind to basically argue, like support the argument you disagree with." And so I think it kind of goes together. Like, to know the power of your words and actions, you also have to have like thought critically about something. If you don't understand all the perspectives at play, you probably don't know the full impact that your words or actions might have to other people.
I think that's very true. And I do wonder, how do our children learn these types of things, especially when it comes to media, because media comes at children so fast and furious, especially older children that have their own devices and they have access to TikTok and all other kinds of platforms that they can very easily get tunnel vision about. So they're only hearing a perspective that they're comfortable with. And they don't have an opportunity to discuss what they're seeing because it happens so quickly. There's not a reflection time built into that.
Right.
That's a good point too. I mean, I think the speed at which information is coming at you now, it doesn't leave time to really think about it.
Yeah. Whenever I think of like how this is being, or how media literacy is being taught to kids, I'm not sure that it is everywhere, but I think that it's definitely something that kids need to have exposure to, like asking these questions and being taught is what I'm looking at, like whether that's appropriate or is this a credible source, or just asking those right kinds of questions is something that they should be taught and exposed to as early as preschool or kindergarten, whenever they're using these tablets in schools, and then being challenged to go home and practice these skills whenever they do maybe have less restrictions on what they're able to be on. Because I know at schools, like they're probably going to be on a program or something that the teacher has tasked them to be on, but then whenever you go home, you may not have that sort of like program. You have just access to everything in the world. And so being able to learn about it in school and then practice it at home, I think is really important, starting out really young.
Yeah, I think those are great points, Lauren. Let's go ahead and explore the next slide. I mean, I feel like we could, the four of us could stay on it, five of us. Yeah, four of us, I can count today. could talk about this all day long. So we're gonna have to like have some discussion and then be kind of speedy as we're talking about reflection and taking time. I'm saying, let's hurry up. But we spend a lot of time talking about open-ended questions. It's something that we feel is extraordinarily important. And children and families hear about this in particular with books and going through their daily lives, is asking these open-ended questions. And I hope that we can change that so that it also happens when consuming media. One of the most powerful tools we ever had for teaching is our remote control. Because we can stop something, we can discuss it, reflect on it. And we created this little cube puzzle that went out with our summer challenge this year to be stored next to somebody's TV or where you read. So you can toss it up and you can ask some different kinds of questions. Like, Grace, I know these are small, can you read a few of them? You don't have to read all of them, just a few.
Sure. Yeah, some of the questions that you can ask, like after you watch a show or even pausing in the middle, or a book, is something like, tell me what you liked best about your favorite character. What would have made this story sillier? How would you feel in this situation and why? So it touches on social, emotional, and then just getting kids to kind of like we're talking about, think critically and think creatively about the story. Like they have to comprehend the story in order to know what would have made it sillier. So it touches on those different skills, and as well as fine motor skills, because they have to put the cube together. And so it really touches on all these different things, which is really cool.
One thing you did that sparked my mind about when you let children, first of all, comprehend, like they demonstrate their comprehension of the story, but also gives them the ability to change the story. And that gives them the power of what they're seeing and they're learning. But only if we give it to them, right? I mean, other than that, they're just going to watch 13 minutes of a show and walk away thinking, okay, that's that. But giving them freedom with their imagination can really change a child's ability to look at any media more critically.
I think this is a fun way too to just introduce the idea of open-ended questions. And I know a concept we talked a lot about in like our education program was metacognition, like thinking about your own thinking, that as a teacher, you should model it. Like if you're doing a read aloud, say something to the effect of like, I'm thinking this, or I'm wondering this. And in that way, you're modeling that as you are in taking information, you should be asking yourself questions, even about what you're thinking. And I think this is just like a fun way to do that. Sometimes like these concepts can seem very lofty of like, well, how would I apply this with a 2-year-old? But that's why I like this cube, because again, it's like learning that they don't know they're doing. Oh, I'm just like playing this game with my parent, but meanwhile, you are showing them, hey, as we watch this show, as we read this book, what are you thinking? What are you thinking about what you're thinking? So
Such a good point, Cassidy. I love that. You know, we haven't received really any feedback on families using the cube, but I hope someone out there will, because I think it could be a really great tool and useful. And hopefully we'll get some more soon. So if anyone sees this and they want a cube, reach out to us. This is a great thing to contemplate, is of course our sources of information. Villain or hero? Now, this one shows Word Girl with her villains, which are actually pretty hilarious. I don't know if all of you loved Word Girl and watched it, but my favorite villain of hers he was the sandwich man. I guess it was the butcher. And he's in the back. He's the one with like that gray shadow of a beard. And his weapon was cold cuts, right? Like deli meat that he would shoot out of these crazy devices and they're just so campy and fun. So that was like a fun villain. But in our world of access and the things that we're looking at, I'm wondering, have any of you ever discovered something you thought was true and then you realized it was from a source that it wasn't at all, and you thought, oh, oops.
I don't know if you guys saw recently, hot take, but there was like a fake image of books that had been banned in Florida. And they put like some very classic books that they knew people would like go crazy over. But a simple Google search would tell you that this was just like made up to make people go crazy. Granted, there are books banned right now that you should be crazy that they're banned over, but that's neither here nor there. It was a made up list just to spark an internet revolution.
That's a perfect example, Cassidy, because I bet there's some people that did express outrage in the comments.
And again, it's like what you were saying before, that it happens so quickly, right? Like you just see this thing on your feed, and next thing you know, you're like texting your friend, have you heard they banned this book? And it's like, did you even, like, who posted that? Did you verify that that's truly the list of things that are banned right now?
It is. It's so crazy. Is there anything else that you guys saw? I've seen some, there was one that was showing a model that they had made her, like, they showed her real self and then what she looked like photoshopped. And they just like took off all this pieces of her body to make her look like something totally different.
That's
And
a
I
big thing right now with social media.
Yes, I know. And even now I could choose a filter that puts makeup on me, which is hilarious. Except it doesn't really move with you. So your lips are on one side of the screen. And so, yeah, that's kind of crazy. All right, let's talk about the next slide. All right, Cassidy, will you read some of these? You don't have to read every percentage, but just some so that everyone gets a gist if they're just listening to this.
Sure. And this was from the Pew Research Center. They said about 2/3 of US adults say they get their news at least sometimes from news websites or apps or search engines like Google. And
So how about you? I'm going to poll each of you. Grace, where do you get your news from?
yo,
I usually honestly listen to NPR whenever I'm in the mood to hear the news.
Good answer, right? WFSU FM, yay.
No.
How about you, Lauren? What's your source?
I also in the morning time, whenever I'm getting ready, will listen to NPR, and they do like a morning briefing. And so it's kind of just a little like snippets of what's going on. And then if I hear something I'm like, want to learn more about, I can look into it more. And then I also get some news notifications on my phone, and I think it's Apple News, but I think I just get those notifications. So every time I look at my phone, I feel like there's another notification of something new that's happening.
I know so much news all the time. Cassidy, do you have a favorite source?
I am ashamed to say, I would probably say that like the first time I'll hear about something is on social media. Not that I trust that. It's usually just like, oh, this is something that's going on that I'm sure a bunch of people are talking about right now, which will usually lead me to either, like this is saying, look at a news website or Google it and find different things about it, or honestly, ask my husband because he will spend hours researching this stuff. And I'm like, can you please just give me the Spark Notes version? Because, yeah.
That's fantastic. I am a news junkie a little bit. So I do have subscriptions to the Washington Post, New York Times, and then do listen to NPR. But of course, getting information from social media resources too. And I always try to sprinkle in a lot of other things like NASA news and Smithsonian news, because I hope that that's rounding out the things that I learn about the world. But it's really difficult, right? I mean, we have to do so much searching and being online just for our work that then for any kind of classes that we're taking, they're online. And then of course, just looking at our friends and their pictures of where they've been and the gorgeous fallness everywhere. It's coming at us all the time and hard to think critically about it and have discussions about it. And, but it's really important. Okay, little fun here. Let's visit with Kermit.
We take you now to Kermit the Roving Reporter and his People on the Street interview.
It's okay, officer. No, we're with Sesame Street. No, it's a kids program. Shh. Hi, this is Kermit the Frog here, Sesame Street News. And today we're out on the street here and we're going to find out what it is that makes the average man on the street angry. And let's see, we'll just, pardon me, miss. Can you tell me, what is it that makes you angry?
No, I don't have time. I'm on my way to a ping pong tournament.
We'll just ask someone else here. Pardon me, sir. Excuse me, sir. I was wondering if you could tell me, what is it that makes you angry?
Oh, I don't have time right now. I'm sorry. I'm going to.
Kid, excuse me, kid. Can you tell me what it is that?
Game so long.
All right. Pardon me there. Sir, can you tell me what is it that makes you angry?
Hey, no. Don't have time. Don't have time today.
Yes, sir.
Hey, little froggy, what are you doing?
Rover, my friend, can you answer a question and just tell me what is it that makes you angry?
Time to make, but I want to make okay.
Miss, can you tell me, pardon me, miss, can you tell me what is it that makes you? Okay, cut. All right, I've had it. Listen, stop. I'll never find out what makes people angry because nobody will stop long enough to talk to me.
Why? Are you angry?
Yes, I am. And would you like to know why I'm angry?
No, I don't have time.
Okay, we can pause Kermit.
I'm angry frog. And would you like to know why I'm angry?
I wonder, yeah, let me know what you think about this. This made me think of media literacy, but I'm curious if it made you guys think about media literacy, and if so, what about it?
I think that to me, it reminds me of media literacy because he is getting frustrated because everybody is just passing him by and not giving him just a little bit of their time to answer his question. And I think that is really relatable to how people are right now, just with any kind of information or any like video or anyone who's asking them a question. If it's not quick and in like chunks, I guess, then they just move on to the next thing. It has to be quick. The information that they're getting needs to be just, I don't know, quick, I guess, is the thing that really stuck with me. If they don't really give a lot of time to what they're focusing on, they're just ready to move on to the next thing always.
Or
That's-
even,
Yeah, go ahead.
oh, sorry, I was gonna even add on to that, Lauren, of like, he's trying to find answers from the source of like, I want to take this poll to like know what you guys are thinking. And then everyone, like what you're saying, it's too quick and they're just moving along, like not even giving the time of day to think. And so then he finds out like his own answer from that. But yeah.
I also felt that it was interesting because he's being ignored. Kermit's having some really big feelings. And I think with everybody being on the stage and wanting a response, it too generates really big feelings. Not always pleasant ones if you are ignored, and that's its own problem too. So Lauren, I appreciate that you looked at it totally different, and I love that. I was so grateful to hear that, because there's a lot of things to learn from this, especially considering this is probably made in the 70s when we didn't have nearly as much access to information or have the mouthpiece that we have today on social media. So good ideas. I love that. Cassidy, I think that's my favorite video that you've made so far.
Thank you.
Perky music, and it's such an important message. And I think it's an important message for all of us, because just from my own experience and working with the three of you, we definitely do this, right? We do watch stuff together, we read stuff together, and we sit with it. We talk about it. I think it's a model that's extremely effective and gives everybody an opportunity to take the time to reflect and visit about it.
Yeah, I think the thing that stands out to me too, like, is the talking aspect of it. Just in you even saying within this conversation, talking about how everyone's on the stage. And I know that a lot of parents talk about how hard it is that, their kids, how to monitor technology, what that looks like, what it doesn't. And I had a conversation with a mom like 2 weekends ago that just said, we never stop talking in our house, like, about these things. But that's good, because it's kind of this idea that whether you talk to, like, whether they're your kids, your students, whether you're the one talking to them, someone is. And so if you're not the one sitting, asking the questions, having them talk through and think through things, then they're just going to have someone else talking at them that is also influencing what they're thinking. And so, yeah, I would like say maybe the sequel to this video is like, if you don't sit with them, who is? So
Yeah, I'm putting a heart up next to that one, Cassidy.
yeah.
Next video coming up. But someone is going to be talking to them about whatever it is. So there's two opportunities missed, right? So the time when you could be interacting with something together, and the time after to break it apart and make sure comprehension is the way you want somebody to be feeling about it, or giving them an opportunity to explore their own feelings.
Mm-hmm. And you just really don't know. I mean, even all of us here as adults watching that last video interpreted it totally different. And so if you don't ask a child, what were you thinking when you saw that? Or what do you think that means? You can think, just because you're watching the same thing as them, we are interpreting this the same way. But they have a lot less experience than you. They have a lot less education than you. Like, so as they're having those formative experiences and early learning, that process has to be guided.
Yep.
Or even tying back to the reflection piece you talked about earlier, Tasha, like as a teacher, as a parent, like when you do teach them something about media literacy, then sitting, inquiring, talking about, like, if you are talking at them or like trying to tell them something, finding out like what they actually understood about that, because you can only say and do so much, but then like you were talking about, Cassidy, the perspective might be different, or they might have got something different. So reflecting on like how you did it, what the child is saying. And then it's kind of like this whole cycle of like always going back to the sit method, or else you're really never going to know how they interpreted what information you gave them.
And also, isn't it wonderful when you do take time to listen and you learn about somebody's different ideas and it changes your own ideas? How powerful is that?
One of the questions that I found and put in the green video that I liked was, who does this benefit and who might this harm? Because sometimes your answer to that question might be, I'm the one benefiting. And so if you are on the benefiting side of a message, you might just stop there. Before asking, like, could the same thing that sounds good to me and is going to enhance my life be harmful to someone else? And I think just taking the time to consider that might make you question how good you really think it is.
Oh, wow. Cassie, that opens up a whole other discussion that we were
Yeah.
talking about a little bit earlier about how our own self-image and feelings are always compared to other people's. And again, that's not narrated either. We just see an image, we see somebody wearing something really fancy and expensive, and it diminishes how we feel about ourselves potentially. All right, let's go. Let's explore the next thing. And speaking of things for sale, which we just started to talk a little bit about, a concept that we probably are not teaching our children is that their time is valuable. That in many ways it is for sale. And if we look at what we're being shown, framing it as, how much is this moment of my time worth? You know, it's just, it could change what you want to spend your time on maybe. But let's see what happens here with Kermit and Salesman Grover.
Hark, I wonder whom that can be, knocking upon my door. I will go to the door and see.
Hello there, Mr. Frog. I represent the Little Wondro Machine Company. May I have a moment of your time, please, sir?
Grover, is that you?
Yeah, this is me, Froggy.
I didn't know you were a door-to-door salesman.
Well, you know, you got to do something to pay the cookie bill.
I suppose so,
Can I
but
just put this on the table
what is-
right here and put
what
this
is
down?
that? What is that
It's
thing
a
there,
Nice little table.
Grover?
Hmm?
What are you selling?
Oh, this here, I am selling weather.
Weather?
Weather with this little machine. Weather.
Grover, weather is not something you sell. Weather is something that happens outside, like the sun shines or the clouds come. But weather is not something you sell.
That is a good one, Froggy.
Why is that a good one?
You see, all my customers say that it is not true. With this little Wondro machine, I can give you weather in your own home. It will turn it on.
Weather in my home?
For instance, what if you would like snow?
Huh?
Snow for only $1 in your own home. You can get this lovely snow. It is beautiful. It is white. It is the thing you want for your
Hey,
home.
wait a minute.
With
Grover,
Christmas comes
Grover.
for Santa Claus.
Grover, it's snowing. It's snowing in the living room here.
Oh,
I don't want snow in the living room.
well, then some people may not want snow in the living room.
I don't like snow in the living room.
Wind,
Grover,
of course, it's only 1%.
Grover,
It cleans the air. It is all wonderful when the trees and leaves
Grover.
rustle.
I don't want any wind either, Grover.
Some frogs may not want wind.
Like
either.
me, I don't want wind in here, Grover.
So for those people, we give them rain.
Rain.
Oh, wonderful rain. The rain is good
Grover.
for little flowers that
Wait a minute.
grow.
Grover,
Little bunny rabbits get a bath in it.
Grover,
Hmm?
listen, I don't want your snow. I don't want your wind. I don't want your rain. I want you out of here and stop wrecking my place.
Oh, okay.
But Grover, wait a minute. What about the rain here?
Oh, little froggy, today you are in luck.
I'm in luck.
Because,
Not
yes,
today. I'm
today I have for you an umbrella for only $7.
$7.
Make it a nickel.
Here's the nickel.
Thank Froggy. I nickel, my first nickel. I got a deal. Oh, I got a deal. Oh, mommy, I made a sale. Mommy, I made a sale. Thank you, Froggy. Thank you.
So have you guys any experience with buying something you never thought you would have to buy? Has anyone sold you something you didn't want?
I mean, this isn't like, I guess as part of growing up when I was younger, I never assumed that you had to pay for like your lights to be on or your water in your house. And so as I got older and realized like, oh, there's a water bill, there's electricity bill. That reminds me of the weather thing where it's like, it doesn't seem like something I should have to pay for, but I guess I do have to pay for water.
That's a great example. I still can't even believe that we have to go and pay for bottles of water, right? Like, at
Or,
some point we were sold that the water we get out of our tap isn't going to be good enough to just drink anywhere, right?
Right, or something I get angry about, I guess like Kermit in the other video, is tolls whenever I'm driving. Like I have to pay to use a road.
That's a great one. But you, Lauren or Cassidy, anything that you had to pay for that was just like, why?
I don't know. I'm just thinking about like with technology devices now, how they expire on you, or you need like 3 different things just for the thing to work. And you're like, I just set out to buy the one thing.
Right? We're surrounded with temptations of things to get.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh, I was gonna say,
oh, go ahead,
when we
Cassie.
were younger, my brother and I, we would wake up early, and if it wasn't like VH1 music videos, we would just routinely watch the Magic Bullet infomercial as if it like was a show. We watched it so many times, we like begged my mom for a Magic Bullet. You don't know you needed it until you had it.
Did she cave and get the magic bullet?
Oh yeah, we had the Magic Bullet.
That's
so funny.
awesome. Is there, what a fun conversation to have, to even like, there's one that was this egg thing. I can't remember what it's called, but it would stick like a little whirly thing in the middle and it would scramble your egg inside the egg.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah. I've
And
seen-
yes, I mean, there's so many things that you look at and then you realize who has counter space for all of this.
That is how I felt when we were making our like wedding registry. Like you walk through Bed Bath and Beyond and there is a tool that does everything. And I still have several unopened boxes because I'm like, there's just not room.
The Instant Pot, the air fryer, they're all like this big.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I can just make like one thing I can stick here that does it all.
It's coming soon, Cassidy, to a
No, but it's kind
television
of
set near
like
you.
2-in-1, like shampoo conditioner. Once you combine them, you like lessen the effect of the singular one.
Right. Even going to any kind of store, big store, I find it a little overwhelming because there's so many choices for the one product. And I know I'm just being really old fashioned, but I do remember the day where it was like one small little grocery store that everybody went to and you had 1 or 2 choices and that was that. There are some great resources that everyone can access for free to learn even more about media literacy. And the first one, if it works correctly, the link, Grace, we'll jump into PBS Learning Media, which is our go-to free site, open 24/7 for educators and parents and caregivers, and even a student-facing side. You can access all kinds of resources from the world of PBS and beyond. And here's just a whole collection of different things that are really important: navigating the web, checking resources, checking your source, how to spot fake news. And these collections are added to often. And then another resource is Common Sense Media. And actually, Common Sense Media has things uploaded onto PBS Learning Media so you can find them faster. There's courses that you can take, and actually it is, yeah, here we are. Digital Citizens Week was last week, and this is Media Literacy Week. And as we're looking through here, they've got all this really great monsters, avatars to teach about media literacy. So many wonderful places to learn more. That's great. Thanks,
It's
Grace.
funny that we have to like use the internet to learn about how to use the internet.
But there is so much to learn, right? I mean, we all can benefit by shoring up on some of these things because it is coming at us fast and furiously. And we need to be prepared, but also find the coolest things that are out there, right? Kids love it. We love it too. In fact, KQED station created an entire media literacy education certification class. And let's see, Lauren, will you read the quote from our high school English teacher there? And then we'll go and explore it real quick.
Yes. So the high school English teacher said, the additional learning I completed in order to earn this certification and the strategies I constructed to enact lessons toward this certification have already strengthened my practice. I am also now a recognized leader in my school community for media-based instruction and assessment.
And that's just incredible, right? So we encourage you to explore the certification. They did win an award from the, I'm going to not say the acronym correctly for NAMLE, but check it out and feel free to take it. We can just scroll down. KQED does all kinds of wonderful education things with their community, and because of it, we all benefit. Because anything that's been created by a PBS station is uploaded to PBS Learning Media, so we can all learn. Thanks, Grace. And of course, the world of PBS Kids has our own training that's available. Basically, pre-K through second classrooms can benefit the most from this, but we encourage parents to check it out as well. The trainings are free. You can earn a little certificate from it. It counts towards your in-school hours, depending on your early learning community. There's lots of choices. And a little nod to what is coming next. Grace, do you want to read through some of these educational technology trends for 2022?
Sure. So coming up in 2022, some foreseeable educational technology trends are animation, artificial intelligence, virtual reality and augmented reality, blockchain technology, big data, and cloud computing.
Now, there's probably going to be folks that look at this list and they're going to say, I don't even know what that is. What does that mean? Well, certainly we know a lot about animation, right? We grew up with it. Games. Is there any, what was your favorite cartoon? Did you have
Hey
one?
Arnold.
What, Cassidy?
Hey Arnold.
Oh. Hey, Arnold. Lauren, did you have one?
Yes, mine was probably Dragon Tales. I had like a cassette tape that my mom would put in the car whenever we were driving to school that I would love to listen to also.
That's adorable. Grace, did you have a favorite?
I was big Arthur fan. I'm the
Mhm.
younger sister, so I related to DW.
Those are awesome. My favorite was Scooby-Doo
Nice.
growing up. I had a lot of favorites, but Scooby is still near and dear to my heart. How about
I like to
artificial
think of myself as
intelligence? Oh,
Scrappy-Doo.
what'd you say, Cassidy?
I like to think of myself as Scrappy-Doo.
Hmm. I see costumes in our future. Not PBS, but still very fun. Does anyone want to share a space that they know they've been impacted by artificial intelligence? I guarantee you have been.
That's just like a computer doing something rather
Mhm.
than.
All right, so I'll give you an example. I was on my Safari search engine looking for cotton socks that were festive colors. And then I went over to my Facebook feed, and lo and behold, there were ads for festive socks.
That
I
happens
don't
to me all
like
the
it.
time.
Artificial intelligence.
Or even talk about something, don't even search it,
Yeah.
and all over ads for what I was talking
Mhm.
about.
That's right, Grace. It just creeps me out.
It's
And
creepy, but
again-
it's also kind of nice sometimes. It kind of cuts my time in half. I'm like, oh, there it is.
But again, too, like there's often things they'll pick out something that they figured out how cute I think things are. And they'll pull up stores and I look at them like, oh my gosh, I might need that sweater. And I would never have heard of that company before.
Mm-hmm. I know, it has its pros and cons.
Yeah, especially with kids, right? Oh, who knows, like the conversations they're having online, we probably don't even want to know. But someone's listening out there, some computer that's compositing information about what they're thinking and what they like. It's pretty crazy. Cassie, was it you that was telling me, we won't name the countries, but there was a country that the people already have kind of a monitoring system?
Yes. I mean, I was going to say, there are many countries that do that. And I think it's kind of like a catch-22. I think with people each person having like their own device, there can be like a perceived element of control that I'm not at the mercy of someone just throwing like one newspaper in my yard anymore. And to some degree, that's true, right? You have access to a wider amount of information. However, because of artificial intelligence, you're like curating a certain type of information. And this whole algorithm is like set to just like keep you in a track. So you might only be exposed to certain things all the time. Like the goal of like artificial intelligence is not to diversify your portfolio, so to speak. And that is what I find a little concerning about it.
That's what it really is. We have to stay vigilant and keep having visits like this so we can keep each other apprised of what's happening and resources that can help us manage it, because it's not going away. One thing I thought was real interesting, and I had to look it up, is blockchain technology. I hadn't heard of it before, but it's basically, as we get more and more into just purchasing things online, there's going to be very few places that need a mediator between you and a product. So all of the different places that we go out to for really anything that we could purchase, food or presents, it's all going to be just what is between us and our screens. So interesting. All right. So I know we're just about out of our hour time here, and We do want everyone to stay in touch with us. We are a safe space. We will share awesome, important educational content and promise not to send out messages too often or confusing or asking you for anything. We just really appreciate our members and our listeners and our viewers and creating content for everyone that is safe and helpful. We do have some newsletters. Oh, we have some events coming up. We had a fabulous Not So Black and White event just the other night with community discussion. This is part of a podcast series. There are still 3 more segments that are coming out in the Not So Black and White. So please visit wfsu.org to learn more, or just hold your phone up to that QR code. It'll take you right to it. We have our Appy Hour that we're doing right now that will be out and available. I think it'll be on YouTube, right, Cassidy? Yeah. Awesome. And our next early child care workshop is on the 8th of December. It's going to be amazing. So if you're a parent or a teacher of littles, we have all kinds of fun things for you, and we have things to learn from you as well. So please join us. And that is it from all of us. We do have one other feature that we will show once we all say thank you for coming. This video is usually updated every year, but it's always an eye-opener to look at technology and of what's happening from a global perspective. So if you have 4 minutes, come share it with us. We're going to play that next. And thanks so much for joining us today. Grace, does it have sound?
Right now, it's just like music. Can you hear it?
Yeah, it is just music. There we go. Oh, we lost the music, Grace. It's not a big deal, but just so you know. Sorry. We can probably talk through this because we can edit it out, right? Cassidy, that'll be easy to do. We can just put in the link.
I mean, people are still hanging.
Oh, okay, good. I'll be quiet then. Thanks. Sorry.
Or maybe I can just. Oops. Sorry.
This is all my fault. I got everybody all mixed up.
No, you're okay.
Thanks everyone for staying with us. We'll get caught up and I'll be quiet.
We're like, yeah, there.
Grace, put it back to just the thank you slide and let's visit about this. I'm curious, what piece of information in that did you think was like the most, oh my gosh, I didn't know?
I thought
Yeah,
oh, go ahead, Cassidy.
no, you're good, Lauren.
Okay, the one that really stuck out to me, which it does make sense, but it's just really crazy to think, is that in a week's worth of New York Times newspapers, that's more information than people would get in the 18th century during their whole lifetime. And that's just really crazy to think, like how much information we actually have access to and are exposed to, and we don't even realize it.
Yeah, that always gets me too. It makes me interested in wishing, like, what were the thoughts and ideas of people during that time,
Mhm.
right? Like that they had these little pieces of information and they got to savor them, and what were their foundational pieces of knowledge that they had to work through it.
Right.
They were probably less stressed.
Yeah.
Although there were other stresses though, right? I mean, life expectancy wasn't nearly what it is
Yeah, my
now.
mom was past
And
5, but it was a good time.
I mean, yes, today we don't have saber-toothed tigers hunting us down, but
I thought the one that was interesting was for students who are in technical degree studies right now. By the time they reach their 3rd year of their program, the information they learned in the first year will be obsolete.
right.
What?
I know, lifelong learning, the only way to
Yeah.
go.
That's also what stuck out to me. And I guess too, the one that I'm like remembering of all of it is how many babies were born and over the course of us just like sitting there watching that video.
Yeah, or that there's more honors kids in India than there are kids in the US.
And to think, it's really exciting that we're global, right? Like we have that information together collectively. That's a tremendous amount of good that can happen. But it's the same, like there's a lot of folks that don't realize just how populous other places are and the problems that they're facing and what they're also solving. It's mind-blowing. Thanks for watching it with us today. And I think we should try to do this more often and just have discussions about what's new. For those of you that have stayed with us this whole time, if you have ideas or you want to join us actually on Zoom, just reach out. We'd love to have visitors and special guests be a part of these conversations with us. We wish you a very happy fall and happy Halloween. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.